So this is Sean here with Yoga Wisdom Studio and BodyWise Athletic Development. Today I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do to loosen up the hips. These are mobility exercises I do pretty much on a daily basis. And they're a great way to actually warm up before you do single leg squats, also known as pistols. And they're good preparation. So if you're somebody right now that is almost has a pistol, like you could do a single leg squat down to a box or maybe a low box or even, blocks like these. These are good prep exercises to warm up and loosen up the hips, because usually the limiting factor is the muscles that surround the pelvic girdle, like your psoas muscles. And if those muscles are tight, it's really tough for people to execute a full single leg squat. But beyond that, if that is not an aspiration for you, and you aren't the type of person that wants to do a pistol or single leg squat, these warm-ups are phenomenal if you sit regularly to loosen up the hips. Again, the hips start to shorten, especially the psoas muscles. And what happens when you sit at a desk job all day is those muscles start to take on the shape or the form of what you stay in most. So your body will adapt to what you do more frequently than small doses of exercise, which is what most people try to do to alleviate sitting for 8 hours. They'll try to exercise for an hour, and that just doesn't cut it. What's a better approach is small segments of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes spread out throughout the whole day, so you accumulate several hours of movement. And these exercises can be a great asset to just a little bit of maybe get up every hour and just do some basic movement to loosen up the hips, especially again if you sit at a desk. But again, so there's multiple applications, and without further ado, I'll kind of go into it and just describe what I'm doing. And a few things to note: always breathing deeply. Again, deep inhales in through the nose, preferably. The exhale can be out through the mouth, but just as you wouldn't stuff food up your nose for nourishment, most of the time you should not breathe in through your mouth. We have our nose for a reason. It's a filter. It adjusts the temperature of the air. It purifies the air. It activates specific neurological pathways in the brain. This has been well researched, and the Eastern thought in support of this, from Qigong, from Chinese martial arts, from Russian martial arts, from India, the yogic discipline, really supports and has been a proponent of this type of breathing for many years, thousands of years at this point. So you'll notice I'll be breathing nice and fully the whole time, and that will help my body assimilate and really get the most out of these exercises. Alrighty, so without further ado, the first exercise is sometimes referred to as a goddess squat. And what I'm going to try to do is just lengthen the spine and start to allow the spine to become straight but not rigid. And you can have your hands here right between the legs, palms pressing into each other as I push out on the inner thighs. And then I don't hold too long, so what I like to do is what I call peeling open the squat, where I'll place one hand down with the palms down. Now, if you're really tight, you can use blocks to elevate your hips. So you can sit on blocks, and you can do the same thing where you put your hand down and peel open the hip. So there's not as much of my body weight actually pushing down into my hips. So if you're very tight, that's an option. But if not, and you can get down low, place the hand down and push on the inside of the thigh with the other hand until the foot comes up just a little bit. The hand is here for support on the side. And then I switch sides. Good exhales out either through the nose or the mouth, inhaling through the nose. And then from here, I take my hands behind me to support my weight. Again, there can be blocks underneath you if need be. You can take 1 or 2 blocks with your feet together and just have this as a way of controlling the range of movement. I take my hands forward. I place the knees down and back. And you can use a mat for this, but if you use a hard surface, it teaches your body how to be soft. So soft mat, usually hard body, but hard floor or hard surface you're working on, soft body. And you just move back and forth. You'll notice I'm, again, placing the knees down, fingertips down for support, or hands, or I can use even blocks here if need be. And I come back. And I do this, I don't stay in any of the positions for very long. And the breathing pattern is exhale as I go back, inhale as I go forward. And then after I do that a few times, again, you can do that with or without blocks behind you. If you get good and you have strong feet, you can place the knees down and then shift back as you exhale, shift forward with control, shift back, and you can do it that way as well. From here, again, I'll place my feet into that wide squat position. Many cultures sit this way. This is the way you're supposed to actually defecate. It's a healthier alignment for your colon. There's something called a squatty potty, which I'd recommend you all to get. Elevates your feet when you're, using the bathroom, and it helps you have a more complete bowel movement. And then again, you can peel open to the side again, and to the other side. And that in itself is enough to get you started as far as really opening up the hips. You'll notice that I'm a little deeper in my squat. Another thing you can do is you can place your hands down, and I'll show from the side here. And you can take what is called table and then just rock back and forth like a baby. So one of the systems that I studied, which is known as original strength, a guy by the name of Tim Anderson, Jeff Newport, developed this system of utilizing the movements that we first did when we were babies and reintegrating them into our warm-ups, because those movements were what initially created our evolution in movement. So we first rocked before we crawled, and then again we were trying to develop forward momentum. If we saw something in front of us, we would quadrupedally crawl. So just for the sake of this film, I'm going to go back and forth, just 2 steps. And you can do this in a small space, or you can crawl all the way across the floor. Or from here, you can tuck your toes and lift your knees. Again, trying to keep a nice flat back and do the same thing. Again, using good breathing. And then my first go round, my toes were tucked in the back, so you can see that my toes back here are tucked, and that stretches the bottom of my foot, the plantar tendon. It stretches the metatarsals. Again, exhaling back, preferably inhale forward. And then from there, I can release the toes and now stretch the ankles and the shins. And again, just rocking back and forth. Again, if you use a hard surface, it teaches you how to be soft with your body. If you use a mat, that's fine. And then from here, the last one I'll show for the sake of the length of this video is known as a Cossack squat. And I first kind of encountered this actually with the Chinese martial arts, but nonetheless going nice and deep. And once again, these blocks are useful because if you're really tight, you can just sit on the block and just do more of a dynamic stretch with it. And not holding the stretches for too long, especially if the muscles are cold. You want to do this more dynamically. We're moving in and out, but not bouncing. So I'm not doing this. I'm just moving in with an exhale and out. From here, I could just hold again the position without the blocks. Again, once you loosen up enough, and reach across with the hand. One hand's behind, so you'll notice I'll slide here, reaching behind with my right hand, reaching for the foot. Reach and try to elongate my spine towards my toes. And then I'll do the other side. So again, the blocks are not necessary unless you're really tight. And again, just first moving in. And then you again can reach across once you get a little more open, reaching my head or my nose towards my toes. And then from there, you can revolve back and forth between the two. So you would take your legs wide and you can go from high to low. So I'll go here and I can use my hands as like basically training wheels to teach my body. Just rock back and forth. You might get some gentle pops. And you could stay low with it. So instead of having the hips shift up and then down, you can stay low. Or you can do the other. And then eventually you can go hands free. They do this more in the Chinese martial arts. And again, back and forth, different ways of thinking about doing this. But nonetheless, this opens up the hip. And actually, I'll show one more because this is a good preparation for being able to hold that bottom position of a single leg squat. So just holding this position with your arms reaching forward, the heel of the foot down for now. And then when you're ready, you can lift the heel. And you have no business doing a pistol squat until you can do this. A full pistol squat requires you to be able to hold this position. So again, initially first just catching your balance, allowing the heel to be connected down. So you'll notice from the side, our heel is down. And once you get good, lifting the foot. Good breathing. Foot back down. And now you're more than ready to do a full pistol squat or just have much looser hips. From here you can also just extend and open up the front of the body. And good 5 or 10 minutes of that, multiple times a day, exploring again within your own body with what's needed and what's necessary to loosen up. Will do a whole lot of good for loosening up the hips. And if you have lower back issues, if the hips are tight, which is usually related to lower back problems, then the pain has a tendency to be a little more chronic for most people. And people that sit at desks all day, they're slouching and their psoas muscles become short. And it would be of great benefit for them to reopen up the spine and open up the hips and alleviate, if not get rid of, most of the lower back pain as long as they do these exercises frequently with small doses throughout the day. So this is Sean again with Yoga Wisdom Studio and BodyWise Athletic Development. I'm one of the owners of BodyWise. I am the sole owner here at Yoga Wisdom Studio. And I take more of a holistic approach with many things in regarding to strength and conditioning and overall health. And this is just one of the things that I do every day in variations every single day. So for myself, there's more of an intuitive connection with my body. So some days I need different movements and different stretches and different mobility exercises. So there's not a one size fit all. And that cookie cutter stuff really doesn't work for the vast majority of people. You really have to kind of collect a body of knowledge and then from there apply what's going to work specifically for your body, for your lifestyle, for your type of work, what you do for a living, etc. So if you have any questions in regards to anything specific, I'll be happy to help you. If your body is tight in any particular way and you want to know some things to help deal with that specific area, email me at Sean, S-H-A-U-N, at thebadcrew, THEBADCREW.com. So again, this is Sean with BodyWise Athletic Development and Yoga Wisdom Studio. And I hope you got a lot out of this video. Again, these are just some basic exercises that I do daily, for the most part. Alrighty, take care. God bless. Be strong, be well, be mindful.